Hello, and welcome back to Transform Yourself podcast, where we help you master the 4 M's of fitness: mind shift, meal shift, micro habits, and muscle building. I'm your host, Kacy. You know me as the Calorie Deficit Queen. I'm here with my husband, Tyler. We have lost a collective 130 pounds. We have made a total transformation, and today's episode is all about something we've all felt when we're headed out into the wild, aka life outside of your structured fitness bubble. This podcast title actually came from a conversation with some of my one-on-one clients, because we were in a Zoom Day Tuesday, and one of the clients, she was talking about an upcoming event she had going on and how she does so well with staying on plan when she's at home and has a very structured work-life balance, and she doesn't really go anywhere, and everything's kind of home cooked, and she has her systems in place, and she says, when I go out into the wild, she's like, I don't know what to do. And so I thought, I'm going to write that down, out into the wild, because that's how she feels. She feels like she's just kind of flailing out in the wild.
So basically this episode's all about how you can learn how to live outside your house, because it's not like you're gonna be a hermit the rest of your life.
Right. Because a lot of people do that when they start a fitness or fat loss journey.
Well, to a certain extent, it's understandable, because at home, you can control all the variables.
Yeah. Here's what I see all the time with my clients, even with myself. Like, you finally built a routine that works, right? You're tracking your protein, you're crushing your workouts, you're meal prepping, your pants are fitting better, you are on fire, and then boom, your cousin has a wedding in Nashville, right? So, or maybe your bestie wants a spontaneous girls' night, and then all of a sudden you panic because you don't know what to do, because that's outside of your bubble. And it's wild how the stress about those events sometimes outweighs the actual event itself. You're not even at said event yet, and you're already worried about the margaritas or the nachos, right? So here's what's key to understand. The fear that you have, it comes from past experiences, because most of us have ever only associated a trip or an event or a wedding with starting over again and again, and yo-yo dieting and guilt and restriction. And so you're leaning on those past experiences, and that's what's creating that fear. But what if you could actually go out into the wild with a system, one that flexes, but it doesn't fall apart? And so that's what we teach inside of the Transform Yourself program. Not perfection, but resilience. And here's the truth. Consistency in real life happens out there, not in your kitchen or in your gym that you always go to. So we have to reframe these moments, not as setbacks, but we have to reframe them as like practiced opportunities for real world success. It's
Kind of like you're training for basketball, and all you do is practice, and basketball is really easy on your home court when there's not any real competition. Correct. And you're just going through drills,
right?
Because that's kind of the way it is at home,
right? But then you have to go play a real game, and it's scary.
Against like, what are they serving? Who are you playing? Like, you don't know,
right? What's going to happen?
Exactly. So it's kind of like learning how to compete. That's not a perfect analogy, but.
Right. But it's getting yourself into a scenario that you are not as comfortable with. But if you don't have a game plan for those out in the wild moments, you can very easily just spiral into, an undoing progress, not just physically, but mentally also. But if you have a plan, listen, if you have a plan and you stay consistent and you stay confident, you're going to keep that momentum going. And that is what we're going to talk about today. By the way, in a 2021 study published by the Journal of Behavioral Medicine, they found that dieters who practiced flexible restraint versus rigid rules are more successful in long-term fat loss, and they are less likely to regain the weight. And so that's what we talk about when we're out in the wild, is we're going to talk about flexible restraint and how to practice that.
So could you kind of define that? Or are you about to get to that?
Yeah, I think we're going to give enough examples to define that. So let's start with solutions, right? If you're headed to a wedding or a girls' weekend or a family barbecue, whatever it is, family reunion, you have to take micro habits with you, right? We've got the mind shift, meal shift, micro habits, muscle building, right? You're going to take mind shift with you. You're not going to have all or nothing thinking, but you're also going to take some micro habits with you. That we're going to take micro habits that travel, right? And not micro habits that can only be done at home. And you don't need to take your kitchen scale with you, right? You don't need to put your little food scale in your purse. Don't do that. You do need your mindset. You do need a few go-to systems. Here are some examples. Micro habit number 1, be protein forward. And this is kind of also meal shift, right? It's a little bit of both. Be protein forward. In other words, when you eat whatever meal it is at a wedding or at a buffet or at whatever, put the protein on your plate first. Think about the protein. Where is your protein source? What is your protein source? Is it a grilled, not fried protein source? Protein is queen. And y'all, don't forget also, if you're going on a weekend away or something, you can literally pack protein powder if you want to, or jerky, or protein bars.
Yeah, it's America. You can pack your own food.
I mean, you can.
Like most places allow you to take food.
Yeah. Micro habit number 2, you can plan for movement, right? So if you're going on a vacation, go for a morning walk on the beach with your coffee. Going to a girls trip, do a 20-minute hotel room dumbbell workout while your friends are getting ready. Wedding weekend, use the hotel gym or have a strength session while you watch a show on TV while you're, before you go. And also, if it's a wedding weekend, get out there on the dance floor. Shake it, right?
That's right. Shake it.
I mean, isn't that your favorite thing to do? Go dancing at weddings?
There's nothing I love more than soft music and hard dancing. I don't know. Hey, you set me up to say something stupid, so that's on you.
You're right. So even if it's something like a walk after dinner, instead of heading straight to the couch, it's simple, it's doable, and it gets you moving.
You're basically saying just because you're going out of town or you have plans
doesn't mean
that's
you can't
not
move.
an effing excuse.
Period.
If you have goals, make it happen. You're going to do what's important to you. So is this important? Yes or no?
Right.
If it's important, then wake up an extra hour earlier and go for a walk.
That's it.
Go to the gym. You could, like, I can promise you that you could, you know what you should do? You need to write a no excuse workout plan. And these are things that you can do in a freaking hotel room with the absolute most minimum things.
Funny you say that, because I actually have my one-on-one clients do said activity.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. I have them. I've had a couple clients in the past have kind of panics over going on vacation or going on a work trip that lasts a week with dinners out and this and that. And I literally have them make a T-chart. And in their T-chart, they, list what they can control, what they can't control. And then we go through and we circle our non-negotiables on the things that they can control. Like, what is the non-negotiable? What are we going to really focus on? How are we going to do it? Let's make a plan for it. So when we do that work beforehand, oh boy, does it set them up for success.
You've already made all the decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've reduced that fatigue. You're going into it knowing what to expect.
You're going into it with the right mindset and feeling empowered about it.
Versus just like showing up and just kind of going where the wind blows.
Absolutely.
Which is what I normally do.
So another micro habit you can bring with you is setting up parameters around things such as drinks. So I'm talking alcohol here,
Okay.
people. So if you are somebody who's like, I'm not going to go to a wedding and not have a drink. Okay, great. Well, let's decide before you get there. Are you going to have 2 drinks? Are you going to have 3 drinks? Where are you capping that at? And also, could you possibly alternate 1 cocktail with 1 sparkling water? Could you do that? Could you set up parameters to help yourself stay more on the path that leads you towards your goal? And choose things that are worth it, y'all. If you're at an event or anything for that, work event, ladies' night, whatever. Say you're at a buffet and there's these cookies on a buffet. You take a bite and you're like, oh, that wasn't even that good, but it's sugary. I mean, if I take a bite of a dessert and it's not that good, I do not eat the rest of it. I love dessert too, but not worth it. If I take a bite, if I take a bite of a really bad cookie, I will not eat the rest of the cookie.
Why
It's
ingest?
just not worth. You're just ingesting calories for what?
Yeah.
I mean,
we're not in a situation where you need those calories.
You didn't even
if you
enjoy
don't like
it.
them, then don't eat them.
Right?
Like I remember we went to that American Heart Association dinner or whatever. You didn't eat like hardly
half my plate.
You didn't eat most of it because you're like, I don't like it.
Sorry, American Heart Association. That steak was not that good.
I don't know.
Y'all could have done way better.
Come on, we live in Houston, and I get it. Like, it's not. We're not in Fort Worth. We're not in Amarillo. But like, we can do. I could do a better steak. I guarantee you, I could do a better steak on a George Foreman grill. Like that.
It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Okay. So you can bring micro habits with you when you travel, or when you have an event, or when you're out in the wild. And I want you to remember, when you are in the wild, you don't need to earn your food or burn off drinks. You just need to show your body some love, get in some extra movement. One tip, you can pack, by the way, resistance bands, those tiny little rubber resistance bands. You can pack those in a carry-on, and they take up literally like no space. And you can do so much with them in a very tiny space. So just pro tip for you. So we've talked about some micro habits. Let's talk about some mind shift on building confidence out in the wild. Because out in the wild is where you have to build the confidence in order to maintain your results. Consistency is not about being perfect Monday through Friday and then crashing on Saturday and Sunday. In fact, that's the opposite of consistency. You have to practice consistency when life actually happens, such as birthday parties, on the road trips that you're going on, family weekends. That is the only way your fat loss is going to become sustainable, is if you practice it out in the wild. And when you do go out in the wild, once even just to a wedding, and you stay on track and you feel great, your confidence, y'all, it's going to go through the roof. You're going to start saying, oh my gosh, I got this. I can do this. I can go anywhere. I can pivot and not panic. This is just who I am. I have one of my clients who, she is like extraordinary mom. Like, she's amazing mom who has kids that just like so many of you listeners are too. I know you are. She has kids that she takes to basketball practice. She takes them to softball practice. I'm pretty sure she coaches the softball team. She goes to tournaments, like volleyball tournaments. She is like the mom that is living at all of the sporting events every single weekend. And a lot of them are out of town. And she, for the first probably 4 to 6 weeks of her being in my Transform, or I'm sorry, she's a one-on-one client. The first 4 to 6 weeks of her being a one-on-one client, she was a little panicky about the tournament weekends. And so we literally, in an office hour, created some plans together on how she was going to navigate this and what it was going to look like and how she was going to leave feeling really proud. And I remember within a good 4 to 6 weeks, she had it down, and she still has it down, and she knows what to do, and she's seeing progress, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, and she's built trust with herself to be able to go to these events and go to the tournaments and be there all day long and not end up in this hangry moment at the end of the day. And she knows what to do. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so that sounds like kind of an extreme situation, you know, where, because I've known people who are like that, where every weekend is a tournament and you're out of town. Like, so what did she do? Because I think there's probably a lot that people could glean from someone who's had to do it like at a high level, right? You know, where every weekend you're not at home,
right?
So what were some of the things?
Some of the things that we have her do is she has a small cooler, which will hold about a 6-pack of drinks. I think she's brought a little bit bigger cooler than that. But anyways, she packs high protein snacks. She brings Greek yogurts, jerky. She brings tortillas. She brings lunch meat. She brings basically all the meals. She does pre-pack some meals for herself, and she brings them all in this cooler with her, and that is what she's going to eat. But then she also packs things such as 100-calorie popcorn bags because she has access to a microwave, right? And so instead of going to the concession stand for the bag of Doritos, she has a go-to 100-calorie bag of popcorn, which is also salty and crunchy, if that is what she is craving, right? So she has all of those things. She also pre-tracks the weekend before it happens in her calorie tracking app. So she's predetermining exactly what she's going to eat. She knows she's not going to go hungry. And there was, I think, one moment where she came home from a tournament a little later than they expected, because you know how sometimes those things can last a little longer. And what they typically do is they would typically stop at a restaurant and eat, right? But she decided, you know what? I already know I'm going to stop at Chipotle. And she, at that point, said, I have this much protein, this much carbs left, this much fat, because she was looking at all of her macros. And she plugged all of that into ChatGPT and asked what she could order from Chipotle, and it spit out her order.
That's awesome.
And yeah. And I was so proud of her in the moment when she was telling me all of this.
Did she just do that and told you about it later? Or
yeah,
was that
she did it and told me about it later.
Well, that's a fantastic tip.
It is a fantastic tip. It's amazing. And I'm so proud of her, and she's still seeing results, and she's still going to tournaments, and she's just kicking butt at everything, the tournaments and her fat loss. So it's all about that confidence and building that trust with yourself. And it's about identity transformation, y'all. You're no longer someone trying to be consistent. You are consistent, right? You show up because it's a part of who you are, even when you're not home. One of my clients recently told me that when she was at the airport during layover, she was like, well, I'm going to use this time to get in steps. Boom. She wasn't at home. She was out in the wild, figuring out which micro habits she wanted to rely on that day.
That's actually a great one that I've kind of done in airports before, especially because I'm an early bird to airports. I don't want to be rushed or late. That once you get in there, take a couple laps. What, you're just going to go sit down and look at your phone?
Right. And the only reason I ever ride that people mover thing is because our kids love it. Our kids think it's so much fun. You love it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but you're not getting your steps in.
Okay.
I feel bad when I ride on it.
It's 100 feet in exchange for fun.
That's true.
For it's a tiny little bit of fun in exchange for 100 steps.
That is true.
I'm sorry you can't find the joy in the small things. I feel sorry for you.
I'm working on it. The fat loss results that you want are never going to come from being perfect in a controlled bubble. They're going to come from building repeatable habits out in the wild. So if you are headed out into the wild, right? Meaning outside your house, outside your fitness bubble, outside your protective shield, right? Whether it's a wedding, a beach trip, or just a dinner with friends, you have to have a flexible system for food and movement. You have to have micro habits that travel. You have to have a mindset that says, I belong here in this moment. I can honor my goals. And you have to have a belief that both fat loss and fun can coexist, because they can. That's what I want for my clients. I want my clients to live their life. I don't want them to live in a bubble. And I want them to have both fat loss and fun. And if you need help putting a system in place, that is why I have 2 different coaching offers. I have my group coaching Transform Yourself program. I also offer one-on-one coaching. We don't just help you lose weight. We help you do this in real life and through what real life looks like. And we will help you navigate whatever it is you need to navigate. Thank you so much for listening, friends. If this episode hit home, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. And don't forget those 4 M's of fitness when you are out in the wild. You can still crush your goals out in the wild. Until next time, keep shining, keep smiling, and keep transforming yourself.
Adios.